The RoboWriter podcast is now available on the AOSN.com as well as the AOSN SoundCloud. So log on for the latest episodes, and while you're there, check out the huge selection of sports content. The AOSN.com. For sports fans, by sports fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the RoboWriter podcast. I am your boy, Rob Whitney. She, as always, is the glorious Nikki Nick. We back with another hot episode for y'all. It's a lot to talk about. What a crazy weekend in sports. Nikki Nick, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of stuff I want to get off my chest. And it sounds like we're going to have a jam-packed show. So, Nikki Nick, take it away with one of the most hot button subjects of the weekend.
Okay, well, before I do that, I would just like to give my condolences to the cities who are affected with the earthquake and the hurricane. I know a lot of people are missing, and a lot of people have lost their lives, and we would just like to give our deepest condolences and hopefully everybody will be on a speedy recovery, whatever that means.
You're absolutely right, Nikki Nick. You're absolutely right. That's first and foremost.
Hopefully they can rebuild and just come back stronger and better. Like oftentimes a storm has, once a storm comes and basically knocks you down, you either fight right through it or you can give up, and hopefully none of y'all are giving up and you'll just fight through it.
That's absolutely right.
So from there, we would like to go to the NFL.
And another fight going on.
Very, very, very shady. From the president down to people. And I'm just going to forewarn y'all. I'm sorry if I offend anybody. This is my opinion. And I'm just going to say I'm sorry right now because I know a lot of people may not agree with me, but it is what it is, and that's just the fact. So, recently, and
Never apologize for being honest and true to yourself, Nikki Nick. That's all we want here at the RoboWriter podcast. So you go right ahead.
I understand, but I'm just saying, I apologize if I offend anybody. This is my fact. But over the weekend, Trump decided to call the NFL players, which a lot of NFL players, like the NBA players, are predominantly black. We do have mixed races, yes. I don't know the exact ratio of
It's
black players.
about 70% in the NFL, about 75 to 80% in the NBA.
Alright, so there you go. So you're calling predominantly quote-unquote black sport like they're selfish, they're arrogant, and basically if you stand up for what you believe in, that
You're an SOB.
you need to get fired on the spot.
And you're an SOB. We're not going to use that harsh language on air, but that's pretty much literally what he said. Get those SOBs off the field.
So, from saying that, I would like to say that, yes, we may not always agree with players. We talked about it numerous times on this show about how a player might be complaining, oh, I'm getting $40 million versus another player only getting $5. But at the end of the day, this is the job that we signed up for. Twitter
I'm with
account.
that. Take his phone away like a teenager.
Something needs to happen because I don't see why he's on Twitter. It seems like most of the time where his posts and everything comes from is from Twitter. You got a White House, you got a country to run. Like, why are you always on Twitter? Like some
Yeah, I
social
don't get
media
it.
maniac or something. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
That's
Like,
not
there's
the
so many
behavior.
other issues
That's
going
not.
on in this country
That's not the
versus being
behavior
on
you look
Twitter.
for the leader of the free world to be a, a Twitter addict.
So, he, well, yeah, I just can't. I kind of like the Apprentice Trump when I would see him on TV, but as far as his political views and everything else that has followed after his TV show, I can't be on board with.
And, and and Nicky Nick, I mean, make sure you preface your comments by saying Nicky Nick is actually more on the conservative side of things. So this is not coming from somebody who has a liberal agenda that's looking to bash Republicans or Donald Trump. This is not political. She is a conservative person for the most part with a lot of her beliefs. So this is an honest opinion, ladies and gentlemen.
I am, but it's just I can't. Like the man is really literally trying to take us back to the 1900s and beyond
Exactly.
that. Like,
Well, from what he said to how people reacted, I mean, what was your thoughts on a plethora of different demonstrations during the national anthem? We had teams that didn't even bother to come out onto the field and have no part in it whatsoever. We had players locking arms. We had players taking knees. Um, it was odd to me to see former Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis take a knee after he was so adamant about really not wanting to help Colin Kaepernick get a job. For him to be down on the knee, I guess that was him saying he was sorry, or him saying that he really is with the movement. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but it just reminded me of him pleading, and it reminded me of the movie Liar Liar and Jim Carrey going,
I'm on my knees in a $900
like, for God's sakes, I'm on my knees in this expensive suit. You gotta at least forgive me for something at this point. I'm sorry. But I don't know. If he was sincere, he was sincere. I appreciate him taking a stance after everything he's been through and everything that's happened with him with this issue. So if he's sincere, by all means, Ray, go right ahead. But it was just weird to see him out there. Amongst other things, one of the things that struck me is odd. I'm willing to get your opinion on it, Nicky Nick. I've given my opinion on social media. If anybody follows me there on Facebook, Rob Whitney, on Twitter, at Rob Whitney, at AOSN, about Alejandro Villanueva, the left tackle from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who elected, even though his team had agreed not to come out to the field, actually came out to the tunnel and stood for the anthem with his hand over his heart. Nick, did you have any concern about that as far as him kind of showing any ill will toward his teammates and his coaching staff and everybody else from his organization that agreed they weren't going out there?
well, like a lot of the protests yesterday, it made me very happy to see that not only, it's not a quote unquote black player, it's not a Colin Kaepernick that's standing on the side doing whatever taking a knee or whatever he chooses to do for his silent protest. But I did not actually see the Pittsburgh game because I was able but in a way, it's kind of sad because with anything, especially when it's a team sport, you want to be unified. And if you, as a team, came together and y'all all agreed to do whatever silent protest that you did, in my opinion, it's pretty disrespectful because you have to think beyond just being unified as a team.
Yeah, that's true. And like, my one thing I will preface my comments by saying, I understand that Alejandro Villanueva is a former Army Ranger. It's special to him. It means something to him, and to him, regardless of how he felt, because he is actually a supporter of Colin Kaepernick and what he stands for, and fighting for equality and equal justice, and fighting against social injustices and the racial issues we have in this country. So he is all for that, but he feels a duty, a responsibility as someone who has worn those fatigues, who has gone out on those tours, who has gone to Iraq and served this country to do so regardless of whatever the circumstances may be, regardless if his teammates agreed on it, that he has to go do that. So I actually and so
necessarily have to do that because that's what gets me. I have friends and family who are in the military who support the protests and stuff that's going on. And I even posted something earlier that one has nothing to me, and I don't know, maybe to some other people, one has nothing to do with the other.
And I agree with you. They're not protesting the flag. They're not protesting the country. And they're not protesting the troops. They're protesting against police brutality and racial injustice. And people lose sight of it and think they're actually like, I'm out here doing this because I'm against that flag and I'm against the troops and I'm against America. That's not what they're against. I wish people would get that through their heads, but that's just kind of hard. People have already chosen what these people are protesting without even wanting to hear what they're actually protesting. Well, from on the field turmoil to off the field turmoil, it was discovered this week that Aaron Hernandez, convicted murderer and suicide, I don't want to say victim, but who committed suicide while in prison, had CTE, or the chronic brain injuries that plague a lot of NFL players. It was said to be on the third out of 4 stages, which is pretty severe. And his family has now levied a case against the NFL, the New England Patriots, for not disclosing the dangers of what could have happened to him, or how many concussions he had, or how bad his health actually was, his mental health and his brain health was while he was playing there. Now, I will say this: brain injuries have been an issue in the NFL, and safety is a huge concern. But in the case of Aaron Hernandez, and this is with all due respect to his family, his daughter, his fiance, his issues came into play way before he ever took a football field in the NFL. I mean, he had issues in college. I mean, Aaron Hernandez seemed to be what we would describe as a quote unquote bad seed from a very early onset part of his life. And then maybe these head injuries that he occurred made it worse. But there was already something wrong there with Aaron Hernandez. I mean, he had been in trouble multiple times. And I'm not ready to blame all of his transgressions on him getting hit in the head too much and having CTE. I'm not ready to do that. There's usually those people, they direct their rage inwards. There's a lot of people who do commit suicide when they have brain injuries and CTE and dementia and things that come along with it. And they do commit suicide, but rarely does it cause them to act out toward others and hurt others. So I think they may, I'm not a lawyer, they may have a case toward, if they're just leaning toward the suicide thing. But if they try to play for anything else, I just don't think it's going to work, because it's documented this kid had issues way before he took a football field. I don't know how you feel about it, Nikki Nick.
That's funny. Law and Order is on what I call block party on Saturday. One of the episodes was about a football player who
I think you're. I think you're right. As long as they keep trying to at least make progress with the uniforms, the helmets, the equipment they use, with the as much as fans hate it, with the type of penalties they're calling and the way they're enforcing them, it should cut down on some of these injuries and make the game a bit safer for these players and save some of their futures. We're gonna take a short break. Let's leave you a message from one of our sponsors. When we get back, we're gonna talk some round ball. Trump versus Steph Curry. LeBron speaks out about the anthem, and also about the Kyrie trade. And Carmelo Anthony has a new home. All this coming up in a little bit on the RoboWriter podcast.
It's your boy RoboWriter, reminding you for all your residential and commercial cleaning needs, the choice is easy. Shank's Cleaning Service offers a wide variety of cleaning solutions for your home or business. From landscaping and moving to painting and carpet cleaning, Shank's Cleaning Service uses environmentally friendly, all-natural chemicals. So don't delay your opportunity to have your home or business cleaned properly. It's just a phone call away. Call 267-970-5034. That's 267-970-5034 now for your free estimate. Or visit Shank's Cleaning Service on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, that's Shank's Cleaning Service. Be legendary.
Welcome back to the RoboWriter podcast. As always, brought to you by the AOSN All Out Sports Network, for sports fans by sports fans. The NBA also was not without a tongue lashing from our commander-in-chief when Steph Curry announced that not only was his team hesitant, but it was more than likely that they were not going to go to the White House as tradition calls for championship teams. Their invitation was rescinded by President Trump. And a lot of people didn't take that too kindly, especially since it seemed as if Steph Curry wasn't coming anyway. What is your stance, Nick, on, do you think it should be mandatory for these players to go to the White House? Is it just a photo op? Was it petty to be like, oh, well, if you don't know if you're coming or not, then you're not invited? That sounds like something a little kid would do at their birthday party. But that's just me.
But considering who it is, and again, this wasn't some matter that was settled in private or whatever. I think a lot of times it's just really a photo op. Who really cares that the basketball championship team went to the White House? Like, I don't care.
Me either. I don't look forward to that picture every year. Like, oh, I can't wait. This is the White House trip.
I think in a way he has to do anything just so he'll be relevant in the news. We barely get to hear the good stuff, which I'm like, at this point, isn't any good, but I think he does anything just to be relevant in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Just to hear his voice talk.
LeBron James did a lot of talking himself. Yeah. LeBron James did a lot of talking himself, Nick, not only on Twitter, but at the Cavs opening press conference. On Twitter, he spoke out against President Trump, actually calling him a bum and sticking up for Steph Curry, who has beaten him twice in the NBA Finals now, which was, I wouldn't say a shock, because above all things, LeBron James is for his community, for the entire league, and it is a brotherhood. So I'm not shocked by his actions. But couple that with his response to the Kyrie trade, saying that he was dumbfounded about why he wanted to trade. He wanted him to be there. He wanted to take him under his wing, so to speak. and let him flourish. And he spoke to Kyrie, and Kyrie told him what was, and that was that. Now, if you're not with us, you against us, and let's rock and roll. I can respect LeBron's stance on that. I mean, it's over and done with. Dude's gone, and it is what it is. You keep it rolling. What was funny, however, or I said, it was that Kyrie actually struck back and complained that whatever he and LeBron discussed was not to be discussed with everybody else. So he kind of had an attitude with LeBron actually discussing what happened with them during their press conference. Nick, number one, how do you feel about LeBron's efforts to speak out on things he feels are wrong, injustices, and also, did you think he was out of line discussing what him and Kyrie talked about?
As you know, I am not a LeBron fan.
No, you're not. That's why I asked you.
I totally support his social view as far as, in support of Steph Curry and everything like that. I was like, yes. Yes, LeBron. But maybe LeBron has to come out and sound like a bitter ex-girlfriend.
Oh wow! 5 minutes later, he's a crybaby.
On the fact of, whatever. So, why do we need to know all of that? I don't get it. I don't care.
Yeah, I guess it could have been. It is what it is. It didn't matter. I don't know. I don't believe he needed to say anything about the fact that he spoke to him or what he spoke to him about. He could have just left it as it is, like you said. But from LeBron to maybe the biggest transaction this summer with all that happened with the NBA, Carmelo Anthony is no longer a New York Knick. He was traded to the OKC Thunder for Enes Kanter, Dougie McBuckets, and a 2018 second round pick. Nick, I gotta ask, do you think the trio of Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook can compete with the Golden State Warriors? Or is this just another super team pipe dream?
This will be interesting to see. It could possibly be a super team pipe dream, but I think it'll be. We'll get some good out of it. I think. I hope.
It would be nice. I know one thing's for sure, with the three of them on the same team, they better score 150 points a game because none of them play defense. I mean, they are defensively inept. Something's got to get better defensively if they're going to have any hope against a Golden State team, that's for sure. When we come back, we're going to take another small break. When we come back, we're going to hit into some hot topics. Those are always fun, and then always we're going to hit you with that good look, bad look countdown. And before we get out of here, Nick is going to sound off on a subject of her choosing. All that and more coming up on the RoboWriter podcast.
The RoboWriter podcast is brought to you by Justify. Justify is an interactive watchdog website for customers to write a review or register a complaint against companies and services of all types. Consumers can self-report their experiences with companies, public agencies, private businesses, and private organizations. Justify is a community designed to improve the quality of customer service provided by the suppliers of goods and services to the local, state, national, and world economic operations. We believe that every company and organization should be held accountable for their interactions with the public. For more information, please visit justifyi.com or visit Justify on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, I think you're right when you say that you can somehow mix politics sports, because I just think certain things just they are about sports. It may be a social issue, but if it surrounds the world of sports, you have to talk about it. You can't ignore it because it may be a touchy subject. Like these things are happening, these protests are happening in the realm of sports on the playing field. So you have to talk about these things. You have to interject. And when those political figures enter that sports realm, they can't then think they're off, off limits as to be responded to. I mean, it was the president himself who responded with ire toward the NFL players and its league and how things are run and what punishment should be handed down, which is against the law, mind you, from anybody from the executive branch. They cannot in any way coerce or encourage any private business to discipline their employees. But nevertheless, it once you do that, you can then not say that you don't want any sports figure or sports media person commenting back or having an opinion. It just doesn't work that way. The freedom of speech is for everybody, and when these certain social issues enter the realm of sports, people are going to talk about it. It's going to be a topic for discussion, a topic for debate, and it's just what's going to happen. That's just the way things work in our society. Big news on the football scene, the NFL, and more social commentary. It has been announced that Jay-Z has turned down an offer to perform during the Super Bowl halftime show. He said he doesn't want to do it. He's also been a staunch supporter of Colin Kaepernick. At one of his latest concerts, he dedicated his song, The Story of OJ, to Colin Kaepernick. And like I said, he has decided that he will not, under any circumstances, perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. What do you think about that, Nikki? You think that's a good choice on his part? He don't need the money. I mean, he ain't hurting. Yeah.
I couldn't see him as a performer anyway. I mean, I guess it was not just him. I guess if it was him and somebody else, maybe. Even though we know they bring out their guest appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I really was gonna. I don't care that he's not performing.
No sweat off your back. All right. Once again, as always, it's the RoboWriter podcast brought to you by the AOSN. We're going to get into a rapid fire good look, bad look countdown. I'm in the name of the subject, Nicky Nick, and I are going to tell you if we think it's a good look or bad look. In all, after Sunday, the league-wide shows of protests. Was it a good look or a bad look, Nicky Nick? I agree with you. I think it's a good look. I think more athletes should speak out. I think more athletes should show their support. I think more athletes should exercise their First Amendment right. It's your right. It's in the Constitution. You are an American like everybody else. Athletes speaking out in general. Yeah. And of course, this goes without saying. It's kind of piggybacks off the last one. Athletes speaking out on social issues. I think both of us agree that that's a good look. But I won't speak for you, Miss Lady Ma'am. But I definitely think it's a good look. Yeah, I agree. Now for the people that like to throw out that stick to sports argument. Just stick to sports. I don't want to hear it. Me personally, I think that's a super bad look because what you're doing is being socially irresponsible when you ask people to just stick to sports, especially when the context of what's going on is surrounded by sports. I just think it's a bad look altogether, Nicky Nick. What about you?
Shocking. I guess we agree on everything tonight.
Oh man, we simpatico. We seeing eye to eye here. That's,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I think that's just plain and simple. You can't in this day and age tell anybody to stick to sports. It's kind of ridiculous. The social issues in apex, and they've combined themselves with some of our sports and professional athletes, and that's just the way it's going to be until the end of time. When we come back, Nicky Nick is going to lead us in this edition of Sound Off. Not quite sure what Nicky Nick is going to sound off about, but I know it's going to be interesting. So we're going to take one more break, and we come back. Nicky Nick is going to have at it.
The RoboWriter podcast is now available on the AOSN.com as well as the AOSN SoundCloud. So log on for the latest episodes, and while you're there, check out the huge selection of sports content. The AOSN.com. For sports fans, by sports fans.
Welcome back. As always, it's the RoboWriter podcast. I'm your boy Rob Whitney. She's Nicky Nick, and right now it's time for Sound Off. Nicky Nick, I think you probably got something juicy for us, so I'm gonna let you have it.
I thought there was more animals. I would like to sound off on the fact that while y'all are busy talking about whether or not whoever lives matter, is a much pressing issue at hand. The fact that I think a lot of times, depending on what's going on in the country and the world, the media always chooses to distract you, of course, with one thing while trying to pull the wool basically over your they pull the wool over your eyes basically on something else. Now, while y'all was so worried about who was protesting or not, you do know that a health care bill is going into effect that may not benefit anybody but these quote unquote greedy corporations and businesses and everything like that. I know nobody is ever totally immune to health issues. I know I have battled some somewhat minor health issues.
We all know my health history.
So, nonetheless, if I didn't have good insurance, if I didn't have a job providing the insurance, that who knows where I would be. And it took me a long time to get a good doctor to even diagnose and tell me about the issues and the problems that I was having. So I think y'all need to pay a little bit more attention. I do love sports, so don't totally turn a blind eye to more sports because we wouldn't have a show.
Exactly.
But
Get your fill of sports in.
Start caring about some more pressing issues. So there's nothing more negative than you sitting there and you're doing this whole skill and this whole thing about Trump versus this and all of that. Go to the issues and the matters at hand. Like he's trying to cut healthcare basically across
Thank you.
depend on certain things for their children, for themselves. So you can't. It's just horrible. And I know things happen on the state level, but that's in a way what he was trying to do from the beginning. To like, it seems like it's like the blame and everything is off of him, and I'm going to make this a state issue. So you get mad at your state legislators and your city legislators and senators and congressmen and all of that. But I'm going to take the issue and the focus and the blame and the shift and all of that off of myself. At the end of the day, things like I said, healthcare and stuff like that is very important.
Yeah.
Lifespan, male or female, doesn't matter what race you are.
You're right. You're right. Like we started the show off, you so eloquently paid your respects and made sure that your thoughts were with the earthquake and hurricane victims. To me, most dear to me, the not only the earthquake victims but the hurricane victims are in Puerto Rico. They are American citizens, and for his focus to be primarily with a bunch of football players who chose to peacefully protest in silence rather than an entire island of American citizens, American voters. These people vote in our election. They are American citizens. They are Americans. He's not said a word. They have no power. There's people down there with no food, no water. There are more important things than bickering about who's standing, who's kneeling, who's sitting down. I know one thing, regardless of how you feel about that anthem, if we don't all, as a people, start standing up for something, we are getting ready to start falling for any old thing. And that's where we're going to end it. We're going to get out of here. I've been RoboWriter. She's the lovely Nikki Nick. It's been the RoboWriter podcast. As always, brought to you by the AOSN. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
It's your boy, RoboWriter, reminding you for all your residential and commercial cleaning needs, the choice is easy. Shank's Cleaning Service offers a wide variety of cleaning solutions for your home or business. From landscaping and moving to painting and carpet cleaning, Shank's Cleaning Service uses environmentally friendly, all-natural chemicals. So don't delay your opportunity to have your home or business cleaned properly. It's just a phone call away. Call 267-970-5034. That's 267-970-5034 now.